Lying is one of the most fascinating, yet troubling, aspects of human behavior. It is something every single one of us has experienced, whether we were the one being dishonest or whether we were the one being lied to. From a very young age, children begin experimenting with the truth, bending it, twisting it, and sometimes completely fabricating it, all in an effort to navigate the world around them. As we grow older, lying doesn't disappear. It evolves. It takes on new forms, new purposes, and sometimes new consequences. But why do people lie? Why is dishonesty such a deeply embedded part of the human psyche? The answer lies in psychology, and the reasons behind dishonesty are far more complex than simple right or wrong. They are tied to fear, desire, survival, and the very fabric of human relationships. When we think about lying, our minds often jump to the obvious examples: someone cheating on a test, an employee covering up a mistake at work, or a partner hiding the truth about where they were last night. But dishonesty is not always about major betrayals. In fact, most lies people tell are small, often insignificant ones. A child telling their parent they brushed their teeth when they really didn't. A friend saying they like your new haircut when, in truth, they don't. A colleague claiming they're almost done with a project when they haven't really started. These small lies, often referred to as white lies, seem harmless, even socially useful at times. But the fact that lying comes so naturally, so automatically, reveals something profound. Dishonesty is not just a moral failing, it is a psychological strategy. At the most basic level, lying serves as a form of self-preservation. The human brain is wired to avoid pain, shame, and punishment while also seeking pleasure, approval, and reward. Dishonesty often functions as a shortcut to achieve those ends. Consider a child who has just broken a vase. When asked what happened, they may quickly say, "I don't know," even though they were the one who caused the accident. In that moment, the child's brain recognizes the threat of punishment. Lying offers a way out, a means of protecting the self from consequences. This instinctive use of dishonesty demonstrates that lying is, in many ways, a survival mechanism. It allows us to escape uncomfortable truths, avoid danger, and shield ourselves from negative outcomes. But self-preservation is only one layer. People also lie to preserve relationships. Oh, human beings are social creatures, and the bonds we form with others are critical to our well-being. Sometimes honesty can damage those bonds. If a friend asks whether you enjoyed the meal they cooked and you found it bland, being brutally honest might hurt their feelings. Instead, you may smile and say, "It was great," even though the truth is different. This type of lie is not necessarily malicious. It is intended to protect the relationship. Psychologists often call this prosocial lying because it is done in the service of maintaining harmony and kindness. While honesty is often valued, absolute truth in every moment could make relationships more fragile, not stronger. Lies, in this sense, can serve as social glue, smoothing over conflicts and preserving trust, paradoxically, by withholding the full truth. Beyond preservation of the self and relationships, lying also fulfills the deep psychological drive for self-enhancement. People want to be seen as competent, attractive, intelligent, and successful. Lying can become a tool to project this idealized image. A student who feels insecure about their grades may exaggerate their performance when talking to friends. An employee may claim to have more experience than they truly do in order to impress a potential employer. On social media, individuals carefully curate their lives, sometimes lying outright by editing photos, inflating stories, or pretending to have experiences they never actually had. These lies are born from the psychological need for status and belonging. We live in a world where people crave approval, and dishonesty can be a shortcut to obtaining it. Another powerful driver of dishonesty is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of vulnerability. When someone lies about their feelings, saying, "I'm finit the forsidobanchable hurt," they may not be trying to deceive in a malicious way. Instead, they are afraid of exposing their inner struggles and being judged. Vulnerability is frightening, and lying can be a shield against it. In romantic relationships, many people lie not only to protect themselves, but to protect their partners from pain. Someone who is losing interest in a relationship might pretend everything is fine, afraid that revealing the truth could cause heartbreak. These lies, though sometimes damaging in the long run, are born from a complex mix of love, fear, and avoidance of discomfort. Interestingly, psychology shows that lying is also tied to the human imagination. To lie, the brain must construct an alternate reality, one that is different from what actually occurred. This requires creativity, memory manipulation, and a form of problem solving. In this way, lying can be seen as a cognitive skill. Some researchers argue that the very fact humans are capable of dishonesty is linked to our advanced intelligence. Animals can deceive in simple ways: camouflage, distraction, or mimicry. But humans take deception to another level, creating elaborate stories that can endure for years. This ability reflects not only intelligence but also the complexity of our social environments, where competing interests, reputations, and relationships create situations where truth and survival do not always align. There is also the matter of power. Lies can serve as tools for gaining and maintaining control. History is filled with examples of leaders, institutions, and governments using dishonesty as a means to manipulate people and secure authority. On an individual level, lying can also be about power dynamics. A person may lie to gain leverage in a business deal, to outmaneuver a rival, or to escape accountability. The psychology behind these lies often includes traits like narcissism, where the individual prioritizes their own interest above truth or fairness. In such cases, dishonesty becomes less about survival and more about dominance, exploitation, or manipulation. Of course, not all lies are calculated. Some dishonesty happens almost automatically, with little conscious thought. Research has shown that once people begin lying, it can become easier over time. The brain adapts, normalizing the act of dishonesty. Small lies can snowball into larger ones, as the person becomes desensitized to guilt. This phenomenon reveals another psychological truth: lying can be addictive. The more people lie, the more skilled they become at it, and the less emotional resistance they feel. Eventually, some individuals lie even when there is no clear benefit, almost as if dishonesty has become a default mode of communication. At the same time, lying is not without cost. The psychological toll of dishonesty can be heavy. When people lie, they must keep track of what they said, who they said it to, and how it aligns or conflicts with reality. This creates what psychologists call a cognitive load. The mind must work harder to maintain the falsehood, especially if the lie is complex or long-term. Over time, this stress can manifest as anxiety, guilt, or even paranoia. Relationships can erode when lies are discovered, and self-esteem can suffer when someone feels they are living inauthentically. For many, the weight of dishonesty eventually leads to confession, either to unburden themselves or to rebuild damaged trust. It is also important to recognize that cultural factors shape why and how people lie. In some societies, honesty is considered a supreme virtue, while in others, tact and politeness may justify certain lies. A person raised in a culture that values harmony might be more inclined to use white lies to avoid confrontation, whereas someone from a culture that values directness may see lying as a more serious breach of character. These cultural lenses influence the psychological reasoning behind dishonesty, showing that lying is not only personal, but also social. From childhood to adulthood, lying evolves. Young children often lie in obvious, clumsy ways, testing the boundaries of reality and parental authority. As cognitive skills develop, lies become more sophisticated. Teenagers may lie to assert independence, conceal risky behaviors, or protect privacy. Adults lie in diverse contexts, at work, in relationships, in negotiations, even to themselves. Self-deception is perhaps the most intriguing form of lying because it blurs the line between truth and falsehood. People convince themselves of things that are not true because doing so reduces stress, boosts confidence, or preserves hope. Someone who fails repeatedly may tell themselves they are still destined for success. Someone in a toxic relationship may insist their partner truly loves them, even in the face of evidence to the contrary. This form of dishonesty highlights that the human mind is not always a strict guardian of reality, but a negotiator between fact and emotional survival. The psychological reasons behind dishonesty are therefore vast and multi-layered. People lie to avoid punishment, to protect others, to impress, to gain advantage, to preserve relationships, and even to protect themselves from painful truths. Lying is not simply a flaw of character. It is an adaptive behavior rooted in the very structure of human psychology. At the same time, dishonesty carries risks, from damaged trust to inner conflict, making it a double-edged sword. It may preserve in the short term, but it can destroy in the long run. Ultimately, understanding why people lie requires compassion. While some lies are cruel or manipulative, many are driven by fear, insecurity, or the longing to be loved and accepted. To recognize this is not to excuse dishonesty, but to see it for what it is: a deeply human behavior born from the struggles of navigating truth in a complex and imperfect world. When we ask, why do people lie? The answer is not simple, but layered with psychology, emotion, and the timeless tension between who we are and who we want to be. The study of dishonesty reveals not just the darkness of human behavior, but also its vulnerability, its creativity, and its relentless pursuit of survival in both social and emotional realms.